So, in light what happened yesterday in El Paso, first of all, RIP to everybody that passed away in El Paso. Our prayers will reach out to them. Uh, I think the total body count was about 20, and then 26 injured. Among them were wives, males, husbands, children. It sucks that we live in a country like that that has that now we have to think about. You know, a lot of people mention that. Now I'm gonna go reach out and get my concealed because I want to be protected. I mean, it's 2019, and now we're in a state where you don't even want to go to the store anymore. You don't even want to go hang out with friends anymore because you think something like this could possibly or inevitably happen. It's crazy because the gentleman that they have apprehended was originally from Dallas, lived his whole life in Dallas, was actually going to community college in Dallas from, as of, they say, May of 2019, which is, just a couple months ago.
I don't know. It's just crazy waking up, rolling over and seeing your phone and seeing pretty much this new, like everyone report it. Or even, this happened in the middle of the day, which is kind of crazy. Just a regular day. It can be literally anywhere. Like you said, it's kind of crazy because you have to like double think stuff through now, which is crazy because you can plan just to go out on vacation, right before your kids go back to school and stuff like that. But it's in the back of your head, and it kind of has to be now. Like you have to be kind of aware where you go and who's there and what's happening. But yeah, like I said, it's just sad that there's not a way that we can prevent this. It's random. It's really random.
I just hate that a lot of these shootings that have been happening, just the past few years, or like since forever, but like it's just filled with hate. When you were telling me that manifesto, it just sounds like just a lot of hatred over just like a race. And Jesus is right. Like the situation's hard because people are so divided when it comes to like gun control. Whether, hey, don't take my gun away, but like, I don't know. It's just hard. This is just a sad situation.
It's definitely a sad situation, especially when it comes to that, especially for the gun control part. Like, a lot of people are like I said, a lot of them are, from what I've spoken to coworkers and even family and friends, are like, well, now it makes me want to go get my concealed license. But does that help the situation? I don't think so, to be honest with you. I mean, having a weapon, yes, it gives you self-assurance that you're going to be okay, possibly. But what a lot of people, and a lot of people, me personally, I feel like the whole purchasing of a weapon now is just way too easy. Like, you go over there, you fill out a questionnaire, they approve you, yes or no, and then that's it. You literally walk out with a pistol that same day.
But it's not hard for any person, especially a kid, to get a gun.
Yeah.
Because you can go to a friend's house and buy a gun from a friend. You can go somewhere in the neighborhood and buy a gun off of somebody. I mean, that's why it's just so hard talking about gun control, because no matter what, I think it really depends on the person and their state of mind.
It does suck to have that linger in the back of your head. Like, we just were at Rock the Desert, and it's crazy to have to sit there and, like, the whole time you're at some kind of gathering like that, that's just in the back of your head. Like, just what could happen in just... And I don't really know what the fix is. I've gone over several scenarios in my head. Like, I don't know if, making it harder for people to get guns is the fix. I don't know if taking guns away is the fix. I don't know if arming everybody is the fix. I mean, you'd have to fix the person before it even gets to that point. And that's what we were talking about yesterday, is where can we fix these young kids that are growing up with this much hate? Where is that stemming from? Where is that coming from? Is that, we read that, some of these kids have bad lives, but at the same time, some of them had great lives. And, where is that hatred just purely coming from? And how can we fix that from the beginning, and then it won't be an issue? Because, several people across the United States own guns, and, a lot of them aren't going to go think about doing something like this. So the fix has to be in these individuals themselves. And I think that's where we're missing out on, is trying to target individuals that show signs at early ages. Teachers talking to their students and making people realize that we don't have to hate each other based off of skin color or your sexual preference or your religion or everything that we've seen people commit these horrid acts over these past few years. I think it's targeting it from the origin, but how, I'm not too sure. I really don't know how we fix that.
And the problem is where we live. We live in the United States of America. We were founded on, originally being able to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of everything. To say that are we taking this to some type of extreme sometimes with these individuals because they're not moving forward as far as the country's thought process, I would say. Because you got, like, the individual himself, he keeps bringing up his European ancestors. It's like we're not in that time anymore. It is 2019. We are in a... It's sad to hear that we live in a time still where illegal immigrants are coming into our country and people are hating that they're doing that when originally this country was founded by immigrants. There was no legality at that time because, well, there was nobody here. But European Anglo-Saxons came to the United States. People migrated from Mexico. Indians migrated north, and they, it was all movement. But to have a country where we still want to push people away instead of having that open. Yes, I understand overcrowding. I understand that some people feel like they're getting too many benefits and not putting in the work, not putting in the time. But there's also individuals who are from here who are taking advantage of that and living their lives, living their best lives, but not putting in the work. That person could have came from God knows where and put in work, but was never given the opportunity. So we live in... It's sad to say that everybody says that we are the country of, the free and the strong and everything like that. But then you have situations like this happen where people still think that being from somewhere else is a full negativity because of their upbringing. Like this gentleman was talking about invasion and talking about how if we don't stop this now, it's going to happen the same way it happened to the Indians and so on and so forth. Like it's something that I don't think you can go at a root because of the fact that it goes back and back and back generations. Trying to stop somebody from thinking their personal way is like telling them, okay, then the Constitution doesn't mean diddly squat. Because there is freedom of speech in that part.
There is, but what I'm saying is you're trying to we're trying to root out the hate is what I'm saying, and you have to fix that at a young age. You're right. At that point, this guy's already 21 years old. You're right. It's hard to root that out. But if you teach this kid at a young age that everything happened in the past, and people make mistakes, and that's where the lesson went wrong. He learned this lesson and carried it with him, essentially. So you're fixing that at the younger age, saying, like, this is what happened, but this is where we are today. That transition is where his logic missed out on. You're right. We came here in America, and that happened, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But to make that an excuse on what's happening today is just a cop-out, in my opinion. We have to teach people not to hate each other to the point where you're literally taking their lives. And it's not just an immigration thing. It's the killings that happened at the gay club a year ago. The shootings that happened at schools because a kid was being bullied. This is not a one thing, let's fix immigration, now we fix everything. No, it's we have to teach these kids that in general, at a young age, you don't have to hate one another to the point that you're willing to go out and take their lives. That's what we need to fix. It's not the knowledge of Christopher Columbus came here and let's make everyone learn that. It's the knowledge of the people are different, and there's no reason to absolutely hate someone just because they're different.
And that's understandable. I'm not saying that is a per se a cop out, but I don't even if this kid went to school and he was taught by his teacher like, hey, look, we all love each other, blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, somewhere somehow somebody planted that seed, and somebody watered that seed, and that seed grew to whatever is going on right now in his mind. But even at the end of the day, like how would you stop that if at the end that seed's already in there?
That again, it comes down to that root of making people learn for themselves. And you're right. It's not. I'm not saying this 100% fix and it's gonna vaccinate everything, but you got to combat all the negativity with the positivity. And essentially, if it doesn't start at the younger level and you're teaching them the correct way, there's a possibility that correct way is gonna stick with them, and that bad way won't overshine. It's like someone who's grown up in a bad neighborhood. Right? Gotcha. And they have everything in the world that's against them, to have every excuse in the world to just fail. But someone went in there and planted a good seed, and that good seed stayed. And now they went out of that bad neighborhood and they've done something great with their lives. That's where it starts. It starts at that young age to be able to plant something. You're right. We don't know if it's going to stick or not. But the more you can drive it at the beginning, is going to be one of the only fixes to become at the end. It's like someone who doesn't believe in God. They went their whole entire lives without believing in God, and they've seen something that made them believe, and now they're saved and they believe in God and they follow God. You can change someone's viewpoint by teaching them the correct or a better way.
And that's if the person wants to, actually accept it. Because someone could plant a good seed right there in the head, but they have to accept it and actually go through with it. Because granted, they can go to school, they go teacher and say, I'm going to teach you this. This is what you need to do. This is the right way to do it. But granted, he's only there at school for just a little bit of time. It's the people that are around him, like Patrick is saying. It's those influences around him that have to really encourage him and plant that good seed.
Yeah, I think it's more of, like Devin was saying, people around you. It's kind of backing that up as far as when you're growing up. If you had, everybody grows up different, has their own walk of life. But if you have certain people that, can stick with you through your life and show you, how stuff is supposed to be, how viewpoints are viewed, and you can definitely have your own opinion, but it's not to the extent that you're going to go, do these like horrific acts. There's a way to kind of, if you disagree, kind of go into discussing that. But, like I said, you're entitled to your opinion, but those people around you will help you understand that. And I think that's where it's crazy, because you have to go back to how they were raised as well. That goes into it, the group of people. But it's crazy. That's why most of these cases, the people that do survive, they end up pleading, that they're insane or, have problems in the mind, and that may be true, that may be not, but, it stems from somewhere. And if you had those people earlier in your life to kind of steer you the right way, that would have hopefully, deterred that. But
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, we're looking at the people, we're looking at the friends outside, but I guess what I'm not portraying is, like, those are variables that are uncontrollable, right? I can't control their parents. Like, there's no way. Yeah, you can't control their friends. You can't control where they grew up. But the one thing you can control is the one thing I'm trying to say is that beginning at that root, the teachers they meet, the school cafeteria lady they met, their preacher that they met, these people in their lives can spin a positive outlook. That's the variable that we can possibly change, is those people at the very beginning. You can't change anything else. I can't help who your parents are. I can't help your obstacles are. But the one thing that we could change is putting more focus onto to these elementary schools, these middle schools, to maybe add different classes. Or another suggestion we talked about yesterday, and Naomi said, was, what about more counselors? What if a kid gets in trouble, and instead of just beating them down and saying go to ISS, now you have mandatory, you have an hour of one-on-one with the counselor to talk to back and forth. These are the variables we can possibly change. The rest we can't change. So the rest is it's not even worth talking about because it's unchangeable. But these are variables that we can put money into, that we can focus on, that can change and possibly help out a better outcome. So like the guns, thousands of people around the world own guns, and not thousands around people around the world who want to go out and do something like this. It's not the gun that's a problem. It's whatever's inside their head, whatever was planted in their head. That's the problem.
The fact that he thought that this would help to spark something, and then all it did was cause so much pain, is to me is just so disappointing, because he thought because of him doing this that this is eventually gonna cause something that could eventually be something changing in the United States of America. But instead, I mean, I've seen more unity now, and especially in the city of El Paso, since it happened.